how to avoid design disasters, the 5 worst website blunders you might be doing on your website. Hi, my name is Sharon. I'm a graphic designer and website designer of over 20 years. I've designed over 50 websites and a stay-at-home mom. And I'm here to help you with your website so that you can increase your sales, increase your traffic, and ultimately run a successful business. Now, despite what you may think, a well-designed website isn't just about looks. There's a lot of strategy behind it. I love the strategy part of it, and that's what we're going to talk about today. These are going to be actionable steps that you can take in order to improve the conversion rates on your website. So a well-designed website drives engagement. It builds trust with your ideal audience and ultimately boosts conversion. Now, unfortunately, you might think that you can get away with just having minimal design standards on your website, but unfortunately, poor design choices can really sabotage even the best business ideas. So even if you think that, well, your services and your products should shine through no matter what your website design looks like, unfortunately, this is most likely not the case. So let's explore how to avoid some common pitfalls. The high cost of poor design is number one is lost revenue. Poor design directly impacts your bottom line. It also causes wasted time. Users will abandon difficult to navigate websites very quickly. Usually people spend 1 to 2 seconds on a website before they decide if they're going to stay or bounce. And ultimately, a damaged reputation, which first impressions are super important and are difficult to overcome if you've already left a bad impression. 94% of first impressions are actually related to design. This is statistically proven, so you must prioritize your design of your website. Okay, mistake number 1 is cluttered layout and poor navigation. The problem with this is when there's too many competing elements, as you see in this example, it looks super cluttered. There is a lack of visual hierarchy, which means our eyes don't know where to go first. When everything is the same size and given equal importance, we really have nowhere to gauge of where to land first and where to land second and where to land third. So our eyes just go everywhere. It is very frustrating. Navigation menus can be overwhelming if you have too much in the header, things that have double lines, or too many options to choose from and not clear navigation, you are going to lose people. And lastly, insufficient white space. Now, what white space is not literally white. It doesn't have to be white. What it really means is anything without text or imagery. So it could be another different color. It's just an area that really has nothing in it. But what white space does is magic. What it does is it gives you hyper focus. So when you have white space around certain elements, it allows your eye to focus in on what you want them to focus on. When everything is filled up, we don't know where to look. But when we have white space, specifically in like boxes around certain things, we know exactly where to look. You will also notice that in very high-end luxury websites and branding, they use very minimal designs. This is because they want all the attention on one item. This really gives a high-end and luxury look. Think of Mac, Apple, all of their branding is very white and minimal, really gives that like high-end look. So this is an example of what it would look like if we had things focused. So the solution is creating a focal point. Here we have one photograph. This is the main focal point. Creating visual hierarchy. Now we have the photograph is the first thing that we look at. Then we start with the text, and the largest text is next. Then we go down to the next section, which has smaller text. So we have an order of how we view things. You can see simple navigation up at the top makes it very clear on what to click on. We know about, portfolio, or services, or inquire. Very direct and very simple. Now with this website, there is literal white space, but you can see that the white space around it really hones in our focus to that center section. Layering is something I talk a lot about in another video, but this creates visual depth, which also creates interest and allows us to be captivated. Real quick, before we move on, I want to make sure you're aware that you can get a designer-made Squarespace template over on my website, sharonmarta.com. I have a few options perfect for service providers, along with my most favorite third-party templates. This way you will get a template built with design principles, user experience, and conversion best practices. So your site isn't just beautiful, but actually works to engage visitors and drive sales. Whether you're starting a blog, a business, or an online store, these Squarespace templates give you a solid foundation so you're not making the common design mistakes that could hurt your brand. Just choose a template, customize it to fit your style, and launch with confidence. Ready to skip the frustration and build a site that actually converts? Check out sharonmarta.com today. Mistake number 2 is slow loading speed. The problem is that 47% bounce rate for sites that take over 3 seconds to load. A 1 to 3 second load time is ideal, and over that, you have a 16% conversion drop for every second of load time. So we really want to make sure those photos that we are uploading, we're not just uploading them straight from the photographer. We are reducing that file size so that they load quickly. Ideally, we want those to be under 500K. Remember, speed isn't just about technology, but it's respect for your users' time. And people just don't have a lot of time. And the quicker things load, the quicker they can look at your website. So how to optimize images, I use a website called compressedjpeg.com. All you have to do is drag your JPEGs or your PNG files into this, and it will automatically reduce those file sizes for you. Now I have a bonus tip here. While you're at it, this is going to boost your SEO already, since you're already working on your photographs and you've downloaded them all ready to be reduced. I want you to rename all of them with the keywords that you want to be found for. So don't think about your name is not going to be one of them, because people don't know who you are yet. Think about what people actually type into Google to find you. So think of wedding photographer in Monterey, California. So what are they typing in that describes what you do, where you're located, that would make you rank on Google? Just an extra bonus tip. Mistake number 3 is not making your website mobile friendly. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but over 60% of web traffic is now mobile. So make sure you are doing mobile version as well. It's also really important to Google. Google will actually prioritize websites that do have a mobile-friendly version. This is just showing that you're keeping up with the times, and they're not going to rank you unless you're able to keep up. Remember that mobile users will leave immediately if your site doesn't work well. So this is really easy if you are on Squarespace. When you're in Edit, make sure and hit that mobile icon up at the top. Everything will shrink into the mobile version. It automatically stacks everything for you, but you will probably need to adjust spacing and make sure things are not stacked on top of each other. So just make sure you are checking every single page on your website for the mobile view. Mistake number 4 is a weak call to action. So without clear direction, visitors will wander aimlessly. Strong calls to action will guide your user toward a meaningful engagement of your site. And ultimately, that's what we want our users to do, is to take action. So make sure that your calls to action are, 1, very visible. They must stand out visually. Design-wise, use contrasting colors to help them stand out. So as you can see here, we usually do this in the form of a button. So Squarespace makes this really easy. They have buttons that you can add anywhere on your website, and they are automatically used with contrasting colors for whatever section that you have. So as you can see, this is a dark button on a light background that creates that contrast. It's also in a box, so it looks like it stands out from the rest of the website. Placement of these is also very important. The number 1 place to put your call to action is the top right corner of your website. Squarespace also makes this very easy and makes this so simple for you because they already have that option for you. Make sure you're not confusing your clients with other things for them to do, like going to social media. I do not recommend putting your social media icons at the top. We want them to click that call to action button and nothing else. If they click on your social media and leave and go to Instagram, they're gone and they're never coming back to your website again. So don't make things hard or distracting for them. Give them very non-distracting things to do. One button, one call to action up in that top right corner. And then throughout your website, make it very easy for them to click however it is appropriate for your website so that they can jump around your website as easily as possible. We're also going to use very clear language. We're not going to beat around the bush. We're not going to say things just to say things. We're going to say either book now, free consultation, work with me, be very direct. This one is one of the fun ones, but also can be a huge way that people make poor design decisions is they get too excited about typography and unfortunately make it a distraction rather than making it really classic and blending in to make things easy to read for your user. So bad typography and poor readability are the number 5 mistake. So how do we overcome this? So we're going to use 2 to 3 fonts, ideally 2 if you are a beginner at using fonts. Squarespace makes this super simple and actually has font packs already picked out for you, so it really takes the guesswork out of it. They've got different font packs. Just go to the site styles up in the top right corner where that little paintbrush is. That's the site styles. Then you're going to go to fonts and then all font packs. Once you're in all font packs, there are 3 options to choose from. You can choose both for the headings and the paragraphs to be the same sans serif style. You can have them be the same serif style, or you can mix it up and have one be a serif and one be a sans serif. It actually gives you previews so you know exactly what you're looking at. As with this one, it shows you the heading font looks like this, the paragraph font looks like this. This is the mixed version where the heading is a sans serif and the paragraph is a serif. So you can look through these. Ideally, look for the ones that stand out to you and are easy to read. So easy to read and standing out to you, that's my suggestion. The next section is font hierarchy. Now, Squarespace also makes this really easy for you. They automatically set this for you, but sometimes people go in and change things and throw it off. So I want to make sure you see that there should be obvious size differences between your headings, your subheadings, and your paragraphs. So your titles are usually going to be your H2s and your H3s of each section. Now, I don't say H1 because the H1 goes in your very top header of each page. There's only one per page. So you don't want to use that H1 throughout your website, only for that top section. So throughout the website, your H2s and H3s are the titles of sections. Then your H3s or H4s are the subtitles. And then you have paragraphs for paragraphs 1 through 3 for all of your paragraphs. This makes your document easy to read and easy to scan, which is what we want. As you can see, when you go into your site styles, again, this paintbrush up in the right corner, those are your site styles. Go to fonts and then go to headings. And you'll notice your heading 1 is the largest, heading 2, second largest, and so on all the way down. So if you adjust any of these, just make sure to keep the 1 as the largest, 2 second largest, 3 third largest. This just helps differentiate the sizes. Now, what about poor readability? So contrast is critical. Maintaining strong contrast between your text and your background makes things also very easy to read or hard to read. As you can tell from this example, the yellow background with white text, they're too close in colors, which makes it very hard to read. So a rule of thumb is if you have light text, use a dark background. If you have dark text, use a light background. Shades should never be too close together. You will know if it starts to strain on your eyes, it makes it hard to read just for anybody, but especially for visitors who have vision impairment. We want to make things very easy to read. Another design tip for readability is the line length of your paragraphs. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's just statistically proven that the shorter the line width, the more likely someone will read the text. It's the very, very long ones that span the full width of the page. is overwhelming to people and they feel like they're reading a huge novel and they will skip it. So how we overcome this is we reduce the width of paragraphs to about half or less of the width of your screen, thinking desktop here. And then that makes things just so much more consumable. It just feels more digestible when it's a shorter width. And then also aligning your text left and not centered. That solid line on the left really creates an easy starting point for people to start to read. So that clean line on the left is much easier to read than a jagged edge from being centered. So try to avoid centering text for large paragraphs and large groups of text. Okay, so now that we've gone over everything, what do you do now? So I want you to do an audit of your own website. Check for each of these common mistakes. Number 2 is measure your results. So how are you going to track these and make sure that you're actually getting conversions is through your analytics. If you're not checking your analytics, you should be. Squarespace makes this very easy for you. Go to your analytics section, connect it to Google Analytics. You just do this with a Google account and your email. And then you will start to see where people are clicking on, how long they're spending on a website, and if they're actually clicking your buttons. That's your conversion rate. And it'll actually give you a percentage to see what is your percentage of people coming to your website and actually clicking one of your action items. So we want to see that conversion rate go up. It should be getting up into the 3%, 2%, or 3% range. That's a good conversion rate. Number 3, make sure and plan these improvements. Prioritize the highest impact ones first, so maybe those calls to action. And then implement the changes. Make sure you're scheduling time to make these changes. You don't have to do this all in one sitting. That might feel overwhelming. So spend maybe once a week working on your website. Spend like 30 minutes so that you can slowly start to make these changes. If you're thinking, Sharon, I would just much rather have you do an audit on my website, tell me what I'm doing so that I know what to fix and what to change. I do have an audit service. You can go to my website and sign up for an audit service. It is a 7-day turnaround. I go over your website and I'll record a video and give you a list of actionable items to change on your website. I hope this was helpful, and please leave any questions or comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.